Hi, my name is Ron Foley. I'm the president and CEO and founder of Foley Prep Incorporated. It is a 8-location tutoring company in New Jersey. For now, we're looking at expanding outside of New Jersey. By the end of the summer in 2021, we should have 2 more offices, so we'll have 10 offices throughout New Jersey. We work primarily with high school students to tutor them for SAT, ACT. I do college admissions. I've been doing this since 1992, so for a very long time. I originally worked for Kaplan and Princeton Review and started my own company in 1996. It's just been growing and growing and growing. And it was sort of a side gig at first, and then it just became bigger and bigger organization. And I see that as we get bigger, we can serve the clients better. So we probably work with about 2,000 or 3,000 kids each year. Last year it was 2,000. We'll probably have 3,000 kids coming through our doors this year to do SAT, ACT. We also do graduate school exams because when the students go off to college, they'll come to us to do their graduate school exams like GMAT, GRE, LSAT, MCAT for med school. So, and all those admissions things as well. So we're quite expert at all these things. It's wonderful. I got into supplemental education essentially from the start. When I was tutored by a guy named Miles Bass down in South Jersey where I grew up, he was a Wharton professor at Penn, and we'd go into his basement and he had us set up in these little cubby rooms, and he would rotate around and maybe spend 15 minutes with me out of an hour showing me strategies for the SAT, and I just fell in love. I said, that's what I want to do. Then I went to, with my great SAT score, I got a full scholarship at Rutgers, at the Rutgers College Honors Program. I studied art history, which is kind of a sort of a surprise to most people because right now, you know, after that, I went and became a professor of mathematics. So in between that, I got a job for Kaplan and Princeton Review, like I said. So I was the director of the Kaplan office in San Francisco. That was my first real job out of college. And then switched over and became a sort of my own boss, and then sold that to the Princeton Review, and then worked in Manhattan for the Princeton Review for a few years before starting my own company. And somewhere in between there, I was an intern at the Guggenheim in Venice. So I did do something with my art history degree. I kind of saw that art history was, you know, something I love and I still do, and the appreciation of art, but it wasn't the right career for me. So I kind of did do a pivot early on from art history and thinking I was going to be in museums or art galleries, and then became, you know, pretty early an educator in for-profit and nonprofit. So along the way I did switch to, it was 9/11 happened and I was living in Manhattan, and after 9/11 I said, well, what are the things that I love to do with the job that I have? And it was with Princeton Review. And I was connecting to colleges at that point. I was working in the admissions division of the Princeton Review. And I said, well, I really liked being in the classroom. So after 9/11, I said, I want to get out of Manhattan. I went back to South Jersey. And then I started with Camden County College. I went back and did a pre-calculus class because I thought, well, maybe I'll become a math professor or math teacher, or go to Wall Street and join my friends in Wall Street. I was still young at the time, I was still 30. And I got a teaching degree and a master's in mathematics within 2 years, starting from pre-calculus. So I really jammed in a lot of coursework, my student teaching and things like that. And then I went and worked at a high school for a couple of years, Watchung Hills High School, as a math teacher. And then I started tutoring more and more. And then that just started growing and growing. And then I became a professor of math at Middlesex College. So I've got tenure there. So this is sort of a side gig that grew up into something really significant. And I love being a professor at the same time. So they kind of click together very nicely. There really is no typical workday in what I do right now. Maybe 5 years ago, you would see me just in the classroom all the time, tutoring all the time, handling phone calls from parents and things like that. Typically now, I'm a professor first, so I'm there, you know, usually I'm out on campus, but during COVID times I'm not on campus. I'm teaching remotely, so up until about 3 o'clock I'm pretty occupied as a professor. I have a team And as your organization grows and you're the head of that organization, you'll notice that your job sort of tends to become more about human resources and what people are doing. Are they doing their jobs? Delegating all the work that I can do to as many people as I can that can do those little, routinized or routine tasks very well, almost as well as I could. So then that frees me up to then grow the company in different ways and look for new growth opportunities. So that's sort of what I'm mostly focused on, is the growth opportunities. So it's an unusual thing. So I'm talking to parents, I'm talking to students most of the time, I'm talking to fellow educators, I'm talking to deans and presidents of colleges, I'm also talking to people that want to finance some of my ideas. Generally speaking, we don't need financing, we're doing well, so I'm looking to even finance other ideas. So it's a lot of human interaction. Being as extroverted as I am, it does help. So I kind of get to know people pretty well, pretty quickly, and try to find ways that they can help me and become my ally in my company. And that's really what I do. It's looking for allies, I'd say. So it's really interesting. So the kind of opportunities that we have include what you would expect, which would be tutoring jobs. So for Brookdale students, we've seen some that really work out well for middle school type students that are maybe looking to get into the Monmouth County Vocational School District. There's an exam there that's quite popular that happens in January. We have academic tutors, so anybody that can help with reading, writing, mathematics, sciences, things like that. Of course, the SAT and the ACT, they're not going away, they're still there. So if students are naturally good at doing the SAT and ACT, that certainly does help. And then administrative roles. So things like an assistant manager for one of our locations. We are growing. We're gonna have 10 locations by the end of this summer. So right now we have 8. And we do have an immediate opportunity for an assistant manager here in Holmdel in the Bellworks building. So love to find somebody full-time for that. There's also, I need a graphic designer. It's the kind of thing, like, it may not be a full-time job, but there are part-time opportunities to help out that might grow into full-time opportunities. Sales work, so that you can get on the phone, you're comfortable talking to parents, things like that, are always in need in my company. So I'm always on the lookout for somebody that can fit into the company culture. It's a young culture, it's kind of an entrepreneurial culture. If you can take the initiative and you can learn, I'm all ears. I'd love to meet you.